Committee member Todd at a press briefing said the fire zone stretches for a half mile. He also offered what they have learned so far.
Airplane CCTV security coverage shows the detaching from the wing during the takeoff run.
Investigators say they've also recovered the plane's black boxes. They're being sent to D.C. to be analyzed. The FAA announcing it will reduce flight capacity beginning Friday by 10% at 40 major airports across the country. Air traffic controllers today in the government shutdown. President Trump blaming the shutdown for Republican losses in yesterday's elections. Voters say the economy was the biggest factor in their decisions. Starbucks baristas say they have approved to launch a strike next week at U.S. stores if the company doesn't agree to a new contract deal. ABC News. A tragedy for a family in Phoenix could end up providing the best hope of a better life for dozens of other people across the country.
A week ago, Dylan Scalia, like any other 12-year-old, was looking forward to Halloween. But when he got home from trick-or-treating, he suffered a fatal brain aneurysm. He had talked during his life about being an organ donor, and his parents have honored his wish to help others.
I feel like they're very blessed, especially whoever's been in her.
Megan Scalia is Dylan's mother.
They get a big piece of Dylan that made him who he was. He had so much life.
Today would have been Dylan's 13th birthday. Jim Ryan, ABC.
An investigation continues on the island in southwestern France after prosecutors say a driver rammed his vehicle into pedestrians and cyclists, injuring five. According to France's interior minister, the suspect drove the car along roads on the island, deliberately knocking people down. The suspect was taken into custody at the scene after a taser gun was used. Michelle Franz and ABC News. Oh, great workout, huh? Hey, do you want to recommend?
Love to, but I do one of those detoxes, so I only allowed to drink it.
I'm doing a detox too, but I don't have to drink that.
Wait, what? What detox are you on?
It's called Active Liver, and it's a natural tablet with herbs that support my liver and help me detox daily all year long. No special diets, no prescription required, no starvation, and no strange stuff. I'm feeling amazing, sleeping better, and have so much more energy. And my digestion's never been better.
I'm gonna pick some up right now. I don't need a lunch.
She has a lot of our liver, so give it the support it deserves with an easy daily detox from Active Liver. Made with natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and clove artichoke, Active Liver helps cleanse and protect your liver, so you feel less bloated and more energized. Find Active Liver online at Amazon, Vitacost.com, or iHerb.com, or pick it up today at CVS, Meijer Grocery, or ShopRite. When your liver is happy, your body is happy. Enjoy life to the fullest with Active Liver.
The views and opinions of the following show do not
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives. It is Wednesday night, and you guys can't hear me. Okay.
Well, we can hear you, but it sounds like you're in a tunnel. Something's not right on the mic on the board.
That must be a microphone issue.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like you're underwater.
Well, Chris, want to grab it for a second?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the program. That's what we call being put in a hot seat there. Welcome back to Common Sense Conservatives. It is Wednesday night. You're here for your weekly dose, your weekly injection. That's better, John. Your weekly dose, your weekly injection, your prevention, your cure for misinformation, disinformation, paranoia, hysteria, and Democratic Party, the party that's falling all over themselves with their big victories last night. None of which, of course, were big victories. All were expected, but they're trying to rewrite history. So, John, you've got the con.
I do. So, yeah, you don't know what to open up with. Kami Madandi or Dick Cheney, or maybe I just pass it to the left. And, Todd, you want to let us know what's going on there in your neck of the woods?
Oh, what's going on in Tennessee? Well, I can tell you, we have a Sullivan County commissioner who's a bit of a creepo. I've called for his resignation. He was arrested over Nashua, North Carolina, on I think the 27th of October for sexually assaulting a lady, and the boyfriend of the lady beat him up, and of course he was arrested over there. He's been alleged to have done this similar activity locally as well, and there's been several other things. He called Juneteenth a woke holiday, and he said these people, we can't give them an inch, talking about, I think talking about black people, but maybe the left, I'm not sure, but he's had a history of kerfuffles and snafus. Finally arrested. I've called for his resignation. I'm waiting for other elected officials in the county and here in Northeast Tennessee and Sullivan County to also call for his resignation. Yet to hear anything. A lot of crickets right now. That's what's going on.
A lot of crickets. Chris, what's going on there in Pennsylvania? How's that Fetterman doing for you, man? Looks like he's kind of leaning conservative.
No, don't be fooled by a man's public statements. Check his voting record. He's as left and crazy as he's always been. It just shows you how easily the electorate is hoodwinked or fooled. He says a couple things that people agree with, and he gets a lot of points in a state that's less red and less purple or less blue than it is purple, Pennsylvania, by saying the things he thinks he needs to say. But wait till he votes and see what he does. Yep. You know, Fetterman has gotten a nice bonus here of about 6 weeks of free. Oh, Fetterman's a good middle of the road, honest kind of guy. Look at that. He's the one trying to, the only Democrat that's got reason. He doesn't. It's easy. It's easy to stand out like a weed or a reed in the wind when everyone else is hiding under the water, and that's the difference. He's still the wackadoodle, crackadoodle, bizarre, lunatic Herman Munster lookalike that he's always been. Yeah, nothing there. But that's not the real issue in Pennsylvania. The real issue in Pennsylvania is that we had a retention vote, and the forces that be screwed this thing up. And instead of removing all three of these evil, wicked, constitutional violating, lawless Supreme Court justices on Pennsylvania's 5-2 Democrat Republican majority, we are stuck with these evil. Begins with a B, ends with an S, and has a tard in the middle somewhere. That's what the word is.
Yeah, I agree with you with Fetterman. It's all smoke and mirrors, and we see this a lot. The liberal left right now is still holding the people hostage there with the shutdown, and I guess they're not going to budge. And supposedly made a statement, not even just shy of planes falling out of the sky, while yet a UPS plane just recently crashed.
Well, planes are about to fall out of the sky. In the meantime, U.S. government has just announced they're curtailing air traffic at 40 different airports across the country because of this thing. Now, I don't know what the deal is with the air traffic controllers. Are these people being forced to go work at Chick-fil-A to make a little bit of money to feed their family and pay their bills? Is that why they're not showing up for work? Because if that's it, I understand that. But if this is a blue flu sort of situation where the air traffic controllers are staying home because they're not getting paid, fire them. Fire every single one of them. We've been through this before. Ronald Reagan showed us the way. We shouldn't be taken hostage by the air traffic controllers. But I stand to be corrected. If it's people who have to pay bills and they're not getting paid, they got to do something. Then that's a different story. By the way, we do have some local news here in Pennsylvania. We now have elections that are similar to African, coup-prone countries. I was on the ballot last night. Someone put my name on the ballot. I won the primary for the Republicans back in April. And now, bear in mind that the precinct that I'm running in is the second largest in the county, but it's only a fraction of the legislative district I ran for last year. Last night, I was mistaken. I counted up the votes off the machines. I miscounted. I didn't include the write-ins. There were write-ins too, but I don't know why people wrote in was on the ballot. But I miscounted when I went to turn the votes in. It doesn't affect anyone except me because it's still a record. But I counted up the wrong number. And so I did an estimate of the ballots cast last night. I won 78% of the ballots. That means I won virtually every Republican vote, and most of the Democrats voted for me as well. But I was mistaken. The official results were posted today, and just like African dictators, I got 98% of the vote. So I think we have to look, is there a coup in play here, or do we have to recount? I mean, nobody gets 98% of the vote, but I did last night.
Is this a job that nobody wants, or?
Well, I know there's other people who want it. It's judge of election. So, it's there's other people who want it, but I don't think anyone wanted to challenge me on this. But my point, the funny thing here is that in a part of the legislative district my precinct, which is probably maybe 20% of the vote total in the legislative district, which I'm not running in. Last year, I got like 100 and some votes for this district. This time, I got 15 times that in the district, and I got in this precinct, and my vote total was 70% larger than my entire legislative campaign last year. And this time, I spent $0.00 running for office.
Yeah. Well, Mom Donnie, he only won by essentially a little less than 35,000 votes total. Because if you add Sleeways and of course what's his name's the Groper
Andrew the
Cuomo
Groper
together, yeah, you add theirs together, it's only slightly less than 35,000 votes in all of New York City, which is I thought it was going to be slightly different, but imagine if there was a better candidate.
But imagine if people voted. Imagine if people voted.
Right,
I mean, New York City has over 9 million people. They have at least 6.5 million voters. They only had 2 million people vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was just going to say, out of 8.5 million New Yorkers, and only 1 million voted, or just around 1 million. That
Well,
sounds
he got 1 million. He got 1 million, but the total is 2 million. He got 50%.
Oh.
So 2 million voters out of a possible 6.5 million voters. Come on, that's nonsense.
Even if Silva or Curtis Silva wasn't in there, Sliwa, yeah. He still wouldn't. He still would have won, but it would have been a hell of a lot closer. But imagine if there was somebody better than Cuomo running. I think it would change the dynamic. I think you take Sliwa out of it, and of course, maybe somebody better. Maybe they win by 35,000 votes. And we avoid this nightmare.
Well,
are you guys kind of like secretly happy about this? Like,
no.
So now we get to see a Kamiat play and watch them fail and show them.
I've watched the Kamiat play for years in London. The Islamic fascist Nazis.
Yeah, that's true too.
Sadiq Khan has been running London into the ground for several years, so I don't need this. All you have to do is look at the objective lesson of the United Kingdom: Leicester, Luton, Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield. Did I say Sheffield? London. These are all British towns that have minority British, certainly minority English, white populations. They're gone. And they're run like little fiefdoms in the third world. Many of those countries is what they resemble. It's terrible. The United Kingdom surrendered itself all in the last 30 years. 30 years ago, the United Kingdom had 60 million people and only 3 million people who were not born there of foreign origin. And that included the Windrush generation, who played an important role in the post-war development. Those who came from the Caribbean. And it included a number of those from the Indian subcontinent, just 3.9 million. Today, it's out of control. You cannot go through Luton without thinking you're walking through the streets of Riyadh or driving down the streets of Mogadishu and other parts. It does not resemble anything English or British.
Yep, absolutely. And in Virginia, though, the Democrat who won received fewer votes than the winner or the Democrat did last time, McCullough, who lost.
Right.
And still won by a considerable amount. It's sad. Nobody.
But you know what happened there, Todd? We're gonna have to flip the script around. It's all because the Democrats are racist misogynists. They couldn't be brought to vote for a black woman. I mean, if there'd been a black woman running for the Democratic ticket and the Republicans didn't vote for her, then they would be misogynist, racist. So let's just turn that script around. The reason why Winston Sears didn't win is because the Democrats are racist misogynists, obviously. Right?
Of course, they are. Absolutely. And they hate veterans too, by the way.
Oh, yes, because she's a Marine Corps veteran. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, racist, misogynist, anti-soldier. Yeah, well, we got him pegged.
That's it. It works for whenever it's the shoes on the other foot. So why not use it for them?
No, that's the story. So the story today, of course, John, is that all of the media outlets talking about a major win for the Democrats, even the captured Wall Street Journal, which used to be an objective publication, all talking about how the Democrats did so well and it was a big night for them. Where was the big night? Did anyone think that Ciccarelli was going to win in New Jersey? Maybe he did. I didn't. Did anyone think that the racist misogynists of Virginia were going to vote for the black woman? I didn't. No. Did anyone think that Zoran, my plan, Islamization of New Jack City was not going to happen? Of course it was going to happen. And of course, Proposition 50 in California, Californians vote for a bipartisan, non-political redistricting committee, and it works effectively. And so what do? They run a racist campaign against Republicans And now they've decided to turn that authority back over to corrupt politicians so they can steal all of the seats in the Golden State. Look, I mean, if anybody thought any of those races was going to go any other way around, they're just purely delusional. I mean, I actually heard Sean Hannity on the radio when I was coming back. Well, yes, the first real poll has come out now. That's right. You know, I used to be a roofer, you know, but the first real poll came out. And, you know, I used to work in Atlanta. You know, I'm the guy exposed the story about poor Richard Jewell, that poor guy. Yeah. No, but, you know, I used to lick, Bill O'Reilly's boots, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but you do know that I was a roofer, right? You know, I worked with my hands.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
I
Yeah.
know. And he's a good MMA fighter. He's a good shooter. He's a good hand-to-hand fighter. I mean, get out of here. I know.
Yeah, no, it's so, you know, but Sean Hannity had a poll. He's like, yeah, the first real polls come out. This poll, I've never heard of this poll before, like the Dr. Seuss poll, you know. No, it's a obscure poll, but it tends to be right all the time, even though nobody out there's ever heard of it. Someone does it in their garage. But this poll shows that Mamdami's only ahead by 5 points. Okay, thank you, Sean. Please go back to your corner now. Somebody give him a sippy drink. He's crazy juice.
Yeah, you said somebody does the poll in their garage. Basically, it's they pick up all the sawdust, they throw it up in the air. If most of it lands on this side of the line, it goes one way. If it's the other, hey, it's a different ball game.
Hey, that's a scientific method. No, I'm telling you,
right.
That's hillbilly polling at its finest.
Right.
Well, John, in parts of North America, we call those people shamans, and in Africa, we call them witch doctors.
Yeah, witch. She's a witch.
I'm not a witch. She is. Look at her nose. Look at her nose.
Right.
They put this nose on me. Okay, well, we did the nose.
Yeah. Hilarious, man.
Yeah. Naturally, if she floats, she's a witch. Why? Because wood floats. And what does wood do? Burn her.
Yeah, what does wood do? It burns. Yeah. I love the logic there. You gotta think, a lot of people in our government and our voters that are out there, they think that way. That's some of their logic. I'm telling you.
Apparently, a lot of last night's voters think that way too.
I've seen some of these groups with these conspiracy theories where they string these things in obscure ways together. You look at them going, how do you make this stuff up? How do you string this stuff together? You know, we sold our sovereignty out to England in 1871, right? Because of a treaty. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do apparently with, you know, boundaries and fishing or anything like that. It must have been we just sold our sovereignty out. And they seem to, or the Organic Act. You ever hear that one about how the United States of America became a corporation under the Organic Act?
I've heard the conspiracy theory of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, how do you string this stuff together? And they seem to miss. They string it together, and then at the end of the day, they forget that the Organic Act was repealed 4 years later. And then the Home Rule Act in 1971 or something like that. And so it's kind of like you kind of miss some key points here, people. You can't just claim the Organic Act made a corporation of the United States, and in which case it didn't. It just had, to do with Washington, D.C. and the nation's seat.
Right. Yeah, I've had people claim that the flag with the gold fringes, like I'm pointing to right here, are part of it's the corporation of the United States. That's not a U.S. flag. I'm like, where do you come up with this? God, people are nuts. People are nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. There's some crazy juice in the water for sure for a lot of people. But, yeah, no, but so they're John, they're trying to go around and act like yesterday was some big win for the Democrats.
Not really.
If they had lost something, that would have been big news. But now they're like, oh, what does this mean for the midterms? Trump's in trouble. They actually ran a story talking about the New Jersey race and saying it shows the anti-Trump fervor. The anti-Trump fervor in the story itself, they talk about how there are 800,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans in the state of New Jersey. Winning in that state is not impossible unless you eat lots of donuts and shut down bridges. It's virtually impossible. So, it's this nonsense that this anti-Trump. Let them believe that. Let them all. Here's the other one. Let them also believe that the youth matter. That the youth are going to change the elections. Youth vote has only ever made one major impact on a nationwide election. That was 2008 when a bunch of younger people came out and voted for Barry Obama.
Yeah.
But of course, he lost 5 million of those 68 million votes the next time around because he exposed himself as a communist, socialist, racist fraud that he always was. And those people weren't stupid a second time, but some of them
Right.
were. He still got 63 million
plus
votes.
they were 4 years wiser, I think, too, right?
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, the youth were 4 years wiser, but that's the only major event where youth have come out. I mean, even in the 60s, they weren't voting. They were just burning stuff down and, burning their bras and,
Mostly
growing their
peaceful
hair
protest, of
and
course.
having lice in their hair, hanging at hippie hangouts,
Ugh.
and smoking weed. They didn't exactly come out to the elections. So, I never buy this stuff. We were all, not to steal Hal Moore's, we were all soldiers once and young, but we were all once young. And some of us were involved in politics and remain as involved in politics as we were when we were 17, 18, 20 years old. But these people, it's a phase. Yeah, they'll find something to catch their attention. Very few of these people are dedicated, like, say, Charlie Kirk. And very few of them will continue to be engaged the rest of their lives. And many of them go to these protests and make these things, these comments, and they didn't even vote. Right. They're just loud and squawky and noisy. Yeah. And people are like, they're hoodwinked into believing it's the youth. It's the youth. No. Yeah. And that's what they're saying about Mamdani. He won because of the youth. He won because of dumb, privileged, spoiled white people who think that it's cool. They're making these videos, these women running around, yay, all excited about the caliphate. Yeah, the caliphate. Right. Yay, the caliphate's coming. Do you know what the heck a caliphate is? Do you know what you're talking? Yeah. No, they're stupid people. And once again, Bill Engvall was ahead of his time. Stupid people should wear signs, John. We just give them signs. We wouldn't ask them questions.
Sign. Right.
That's right. Just give them a sign, man.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I knew some people who used to go to some protests. And they would go to protest just for the social aspect of it, and like you had some guys when I was stationed in Germany, they'd go to look at German protests, but they're like, dude, there's some hot chicks there. I'm like, you're going to a protest because of a hot chick.
Well, it's the same logic where dudes take home economics in high school for the same reason, or typing class.
If it wasn't for that logic, a lot of men might not make it into church, Todd.
But I know guys that went out in their civilian clothes, and they went to protests that were against U.S. military being there, and they picked up women who were there protesting. I'm like, man, these guys are good.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're not putting a ring on that, because that's just going to lead to a life of discontent.
So and the next thing you know, they're like, yeah, she was at the protest, and then next thing you know, she's on base, dating this guy. I'm like, these people are good, man.
Yeah, no, it's the bottom line here is that the media are distorting the facts. They're turning this into a major night of victory for the Democrats. It's not. They're also saying that the reason that Mamdani won is because of the youth, and they played a role, but that's not the reason. The reason he won is that people didn't go to the polls. No, just like in Virginia.
Very clear. I mean, you got to think Cuomo, the second place finisher, only 8 million votes, which you should be.
800,000.
Second, 800,000. Sorry, what I say? I don't remember.
8 million. You said 8 million. There's a little bit of inflation there. You got that Joe Biden inflation going there.
He was thinking about U.S. currency there.
Where generally, somebody comes to second in New York City is into the millions. 800,000. That's abysmal. That's sad. Of course.
Well, one thing that definitely seems to be true is Trump does have some influence in New York, because the polls had Sliwa at 18% and he got 7%. And Trump told people the day before, go vote for, the Groper. And obviously a number of people went and voted for the Groper because those votes didn't migrate to Mamdani. Zoran was projected to get 56 to 58%, and he got 50%. Right. So he lost votes there, maybe from Democrats who listened to Trump, maybe. And also Sliwa lost a lot of votes, which obviously were the Republicans who switched over, because 1/3 of the electorate is Republican, or 25%. So Sliwa got, look, I have nothing against Curtis Sliwa, an honorable guy, founder of the Guardian Angels at a horrible time in the history of New York, protecting communities. Right. And it's wonderful, but what's he doing running for office? Can we not find somebody that's more dynamic, that can connect with the youth, that can connect with the city? We cannot find, our own, I don't know, I don't like our own little AOC on the Republican side.
Yeah. Well, some guy wearing a beret.
On a dater, right, Todd?
No.
What I find perplexing about it is, isn't this guy supposed to be a millionaire? Said he's going to tax the rich so he can pay for public stores or public owned stores or whatever it was to sell to the
grocery
public.
Stores. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And, how does he get any support? I mean, you're talking about these corporations that are in New York City, huge corporations there. Did any of these people support him if they were going to be taxed and forced to buy stores?
It makes no sense. Here's the two most ironic, stupid things. New York City was attacked by fanatical Islamists who are anti-Semite, Jew-hating, America-hating lunatics. New York has just elected an anti-Semitic, Jew-hating, America-hating mayor. Yeah, 20 years after that happened, or 25 years.
Mhm.
That's the first irony. The second irony is the largest concentration of Jews in America has just elected one of the most radical, vile, repulsive, anti-Semitic mayors in the history of the country. Oh, talk about irony. I mean, that's, it doesn't get any more ironic than those two statements right there. The city was attacked by radical fanatics, Islamists. And we've been told for years that, if you say anything about Islam, it's Islamophobia. Of course, that's nonsense. I've lived in majority Muslim countries. Yeah. I've adhered to Ramadan and fasted during this, respect to my neighbors, and I never complained about them. And I adhere to their customs and mores. But this is the colonization of Western society by elements that are doing this. And they're being facilitated by our own traitors in our midst who are betraying our own nation and celebrating this nonsense. This guy is dangerous. And New York City will collapse. New Jack City, man. It's Snake Plissken will be escaping from New York.
Right. Absolutely.
You mix up two shows up there. Or was it called that in the Escape from New York? I don't recall that.
That's they escaped from New York. Like
that was the first one. Then you had Escape from LA. A later show.
That one sucked.
Yeah.
First one wasn't pretty good. There was Snake Plissken. That was when he was young, and he was the hunky dude out there. He played the role very well.
Right. Well, his stunt double in that movie, Dick Whitlock, lives in Kingsport, where I live, and I went to his house on Halloween night. He also played Michael Myers in Halloween 2, by the way.
Really?
So I went trick or treating at his house with a bunch of people, and we got a little photo with him. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's got to be a kick, right?
Yeah,
hanging out with some of the ghouls.
Dick Whitlock. Look him up. He's got a nice.
Speaking of Halloween, did you hear about JD Vance?
Yeah.
So somebody made a joke about JD Vance or made a meme about him being JD curly hair or something like that.
Looking like a garbage pail kid from the 80s, those collector's cards kids had back in the day.
He decided to embrace it this Halloween season, and he actually got the how you get those little Halloween things where the little hairdo or the mask, and they got the comical things. So he decided to get the wig and dress up and go as
there it is, everybody.
JD curly hair. So he thought about embracing it, man. But he's telling everybody. He says, "Remember, children, say thank you," because that was what the whole JD curly hair thing was about. He told Zelensky he never said thank you.
That's what Chuck Schumer must have looked like when he had hair.
Chucky Schumer, baby.
He's still got more hair than me, so I guess.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, Chuck Schumer. But they're making out like it was a big night for Democrats. It wasn't. These were expected wins, so whatever. But you know what? Let them delude themselves. Let them think that Trump isn't winning every single day.
Truth of the matter, did the Democrats have any gains, or did they just hold seats? I mean, really,
they gained a gubernatorial seat last night in Virginia.
Yes,
because so they might have made one or two gains, but they really didn't. I don't know. To me, it's like that's like Manchester, New Hampshire, as a Queen City, and this guy just won a seat back as a Republican. He won it last time around 2 years ago, and he just got it back again this time. So.
That's musical chairs. That's musical chairs. But in Virginia, they did increase their lead in the state house. The Democrats. That is significant. That makes a difference. But Virginia is, they ought to just take Loudoun County and Fairfax County and just carve them off and create their own little state because they're not part of Virginia.
No, most of the western portion, southwest portion could just combine with West Virginia and create another Republican state.
Well, West Virginia become West Virginia because they broke off and said
Civil War? Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Virginia is the bedroom communities of DC, which are really just DC, who live in Virginia, and then Norfolk and the capital. That's it. Right. Richmond. The rest is normal people.
True.
You ever notice?
Look at the map, the voting map. Most of it's red, and you have those areas he just described: blue, 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 blue.
Well, it's the same like Pennsylvania. You look at Pennsylvania, you've got Pittsburgh on the left, Philadelphia on the right. If you're looking at the map, there's a little bit for Scranton and Reading, just a little bit. I'm wearing a Reading hoodie today, just a little bit sprinkled here and there, but the entire map is blazing red. Majority, 78% of the vote conservative in some of these counties. It's geographically, it's like much of the country. Most of the country is actually conservative. It's just these clusters of lunatics that live in these urban centers who, sleep with dogs and eat cat food and, walk around wearing furry costumes and sleep with their cousins and saying that's perfectly okay and pretending to be lampshades and pretending to be girls when they're boys and boys when they're girls. That's what we got. Did I offend some Democrats? Oh gosh, I hope not. That's not John, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say all that.
The
No bother
subconscious
to me.
coming out.
So yeah, you know what's kind of funny is Holden made a statement. He says, "Are they not going to mention the Muslim Brotherhood at all?" Just when Chris got on it, just at the same time as Chris was starting to say it, he come up. He had put in the comment.
Well, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood at all or not, it really isn't the issue. The issue here is that people who have no understanding or appreciation for the faith of Islam are the ones out there, you know, calling people Islamophobes. You know, again, I've famously lived in majority Muslim countries, and I lived in countries that are split Christian and Muslim, and I have never had anything but respect for my neighbors who are Muslims, but I also recognize that there's a bunch of wackadoodles in that religion.
So that's what he's getting at. By Muslim Brotherhood, they're talking about jihadists, right?
Well, Muslim Brotherhood is technically not a jihadist organization, but it's an organization dedicated to the supremacy of that group. And that's what they do. I mean, of course, we famously had the Muslim Brotherhood take over a nation. They took over Egypt for a few years. That's when Lara Logan was in Tahrir Square and all the stuff that happened to her. But, you know, it's frightening to listen to these, watch these TikTok videos and watch these the Twitter videos of these idiots in New York City celebrating this win. They have no idea the misery that's coming their way. Ask people who live in London. Ask people that have lived in a neighborhood for 450 years with their neighbors, and suddenly they can't even speak their own language when they walk out the door because they can't understand anybody because they've been invaded by others unwilling to become them. If you're unwilling to become us, why do you come here? Get the out. Get the out. If you don't want to be part of this team, get out. We didn't ask you to come here and be a showboat and, you know, and demand Sharia or demand that people not sell pork or demand that people turn off this or not have pork on the property. No. If you don't like the rules, don't join the game. If you don't want it to assimilate and contribute, then get out. And, you know, as a judge yesterday, I had to do 3 assisted votes for people who are American citizens but do not speak English. How is that possible? How do you spend 7 to 10 years in a country to become a citizen and take the time to do that and you don't speak the language? Now, there was a gentleman, the 4th one, a language assistant who speaks Spanish. He speaks English. He just wasn't as comfortable. And I know he spoke English. I spoke to him, and we wound up doing an assisted vote. His daughter, who's grew up here, speaks Spanish and English. She helped him, and I understand enough Spanish, and I knew the conversation. But I could tell he was understanding what I was saying. So in the end, I got him talking to me. But it was fair. It was fair. Wasn't his first language. He's made an honest effort to learn English. I presume he's a citizen because can't ask him for ID card. So, but he made an honest effort, and so that I appreciate. Like most of our immigrant ancestors, he is playing by the rules of the game and contributing. And his daughter is growing up, the first generation here, bilingual. And, you know, if she wants to pass on the Spanish language to her progeny, that'll be her responsibility, not our schools and not Sesame Street's job.
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely. I don't have a problem with people speaking multiple languages. I mean, that's a good thing, I think.
But speak 6.
Right. Speak the primary language of the country that you're living in or you're wanting to be a citizen or resident of.
Well, I mean, but look, I mean, if people live in a place for a short period of time, I understand languages aren't always easy, particularly if you're older. But the point is this: you came to America. You took the time to apply for citizenship, which takes 5 to 7 years before you're even eligible. And then you waited, you took an oath, and you don't speak English. You can't read a ballot in English. It's not like we're asking you to read, you know, Faulkner. We're not asking you to read, you know, The Old Man of the Sea. You know, we're just asking you to read the ballot. And I'm not criticizing the people who came last night, but it is a very fascinating development. The people have lived here for nigh on a decade and don't speak our language. Why are they here? I mean, if you want to go home and speak whatever Nepalese or Mandarin or Tagalog or Farsi, that's cool. If you want to speak that, hanging out with your friends who speak this, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to live in our society and you can't even understand the basic premise of what we're doing here because you're too lazy or too stubborn or too arrogant or uninterested in becoming American, part of becoming American is learning the English language. I'm sorry. We adopted it. It wasn't our language. So I'm just very frustrated by all this, John. I mean, those people are entitled to vote. I'm happy to do that. No complaints about them doing it. But my argument is this. If you don't want to be part of the team, why are you here? To colonize our country. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, this is part of what this is about. You got Ilhan Omar, who blatantly just said, you know, I'm here to protect the interests of Somalians. She didn't run for office because she cares about this country. She didn't even run for office because she cares about the people of Minneapolis, but she wants to protect Somalians. We're being infiltrated from within. There are people that have bills. There's members of Congress that have bills out there that they want to get passed to prevent people from running for office unless they were born in this country, because this is what's happening. We're being infiltrated, not because they love our country, want to contribute to our country, because they want to protect the interests of their countries abroad.
Well, we have a situation in Hyde Park in the heart of London, Speaker's Corner, one of the most famous spots in the world, where for centuries people can come up, stand on a soapbox, hence the term on your soapbox. They stand on a soapbox and they share their thoughts. They have a public debate. They say, you know, they're against the king, or they're for this, or they're against that. And people there, it's been going on for centuries. Well, now we have a situation where a Muslim fanatic gets up and tries to prophesize the crowd rather than present his arguments. And then a Christian asks him questions that hurt his feelings because they're legitimate questions, doesn't insult the individual. So the guy goes over and finds a cop and says, that Christian is insulting my faith. And they go and they harass the Christian and threaten him with arrest in a Christian country. Well, it's nominally a Christian country. And that's the sort of thing happening. We have Canada, where students are being told they can't bring pork to school.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to bring school for lunch because it offends their Muslim classmates. Excuse me?
Right. Well, you think about King Charles the third right now. Whenever he was sworn or whatever, he said he's the defender of the faiths, not faith, which he was supposed to be defender of the faith, the Church of England, etc. He's defender of the faiths now, by the way.
Now, isn't this ironic for the very monsters who persecuted Catholics, the very monsters who persecuted anyone that wasn't Anglican by taking their property, arresting them, locking them up, chasing them out of the country? These people, the faith is supposed to be the Church of England, the Anglican Church, or maybe at a stretch, the Christian faith, but not defender of the faith. You're not defender of the faith. No one appointed you, King Georgie boy, George there, to be in charge of Islam or Judaism or Buddhism or Wiccanism or no. You need to go back in your lane. You have a church because a dude wanted to knock boots with another woman. He was tired of his wife. That's right. He was tired of his wife, and so he got rid of her this way. And that's why you have the Anglican Church, not because of any great schism in the church, not because of any great epiphany, not because God visited you at the sword and the stone or some amazing thing like that.
Yeah, guy wanted to divorce yet another wife. Right?
King George the lunatic. He's
it was Henry VIII, right? That's created the Church of England, right?
So yeah, you guys are talking about this, and I'm thinking the White House has had several times about a committee on religious beliefs or religion or something like that. Right now, I believe the White House has the White House Faith Office and Religious Liberty Commission. That doesn't sound so bad, but we've seen this throughout history where we actually have within our own country some sorts of committee on religion and things like that. I don't know why we have that in there. Maybe it's to look out for the interests and for balance of different religions in the country and make sure they're not being persecuted. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I know the White House, especially go back to George W. Bush days, faith-based initiatives. That was to keep, relationships, if you will, with people of faith, etc. And of course, that was obviously a political thing as well, because he was going to be running for re-election. So he needed those people on his side. So, and other reasons, I'm sure, as well.
Guys, did we have a hiccup in the broadcast, or was it just on my end because everything broke up for a little bit there?
I think it was just you, because I could see you were trying to do something, and then I could hear you though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I see no hiccups, but I'm just staring at this.
It's a good thing I kept the profanity to nothing. Can you imagine that? You think you're off air and your microphone's on, and you're like, what the?
Well, we always know we're live terrestrially, so we want to be mindful.
What'd you say? I'm live with Tourette's. Is that what he said?
Terrestrial radio.
Yeah. But if you worked for CNN, I guess you could just stand up and put on a show during a Zoom meeting, right?
Do I have to wear trousers?
Right. Yeah. I saw a video on YouTube the other day that showed a judge swearing in a police officer via Zoom, but he had his top on, his badge, everything, but no pants on. He had underwear on, and his camera was angled right to his center mass. You could see everything.
He didn't realize it.
Didn't realize it.
Stupid people should wear signs.
Right. You can do like me. You get the camera just right, mid chest and up, and like you, Colonel, right there, perfect.
Yeah, no, I always make sure I put a pair of shorts on at a minimum.
Yeah, because if you get up and you forget to turn the camera off during the break, oh, what are we looking at all of a sudden?
Exactly. It's not a good thing.
I remember
mean-
Raleigh James talking about radio is great because nobody can see you. You can dress any way you'd like to. You can do a broadcast in nude if you like to. But nowadays we have these little things called Zoom meetings and Restream and StreamYard, and yeah.
Well, the thing is that unless you're Dirk Diggler when you stand up, you're not going to come off looking good in that exchange. Shrinkage! It was
I was in the pool.
I was in the pool.
Poor George Costanza.
And of course there was shrinkage involved whenever you try to get the apartment.
Oh, gosh. Oh man, that was a show, wasn't it?
It was.
And Elaine goes, "It shrinks." Of course, it shrinks.
I don't know how you guys walk around with those things.
Right.
Well, you see, we don't have a choice. It kind of works that way.
Yeah, we're born that way. And I'm happy to be born that way, by the way. I want to keep it, my appendage, until the end.
You're
Just
not
me.
leaning Democrat on us, apparently.
Mm-mm.
You're gonna remain here on the right side of the aisle.
Yeah,
But-
I live in facts and
where
reality.
things are right.
Yeah, I
But
live in reality.
Seinfeld asked all the big questions back in the day. Why are you not wearing the ribbon? He's not wearing the ribbon. The AIDS ribbon.
Yeah.
And then the kind-hearted lefties who are out raising money for HIV beat the crap out of Kramer because he's not wearing the ribbon. It says a lot about the left. That was like that. That's so funny. Anyway, yeah. Oof, wow, we digressed there with Seinfeld. John, get us back on track.
Back on track. So Dick Cheney, man, 84 years of age, died yesterday. I'm not sure how you guys feel about Mr. Cheney. I know I've always had mixed feelings towards him myself, but
Yep. But
I look. I will say this about Dick Cheney. He had the best parts supplier. I mean, the guy had the bummest ticker for 50 years. He had like 6 heart attacks. He had stents. He had quadruple bypass. In the end, he got a heart transplant that lasted for like 13 years into his years, 84.
Right.
So here I'm wondering whether I should get, a hip replacement. I'm thinking, man, if I had a tenth of the luck that Dick Cheney has, I'll live to be 150,
Right. I think the heart center there at George Washington Hospital is actually named after him because he donated so much money. And I was on duty one day when he had his pacemaker changed out, and they brought it in like a medical bag because he was going to keep it. And we all got to hold it, and it's like, oh, we're holding Dick Cheney's heart in our
that's
hand.
just creepy, man.
Yeah.
That's just creepy. No, but I mean, look, Cheney. I mean, no wonder they named the place after him. All the money they got from the multiple operations they did on his heart.
Yeah.
Good Lord. But yeah, John. I'm not a fan of Dick Cheney. I've always said Dick Cheney before he dicks you. I
hear he treats his friends. He treated his friends well in life. You might get shot in the face. You might not.
Well, Dick Cheney sent us to our deaths. Fortunately, we didn't die, and he didn't hesitate to do that sort of thing as defense secretary, and more so as the vice president. It's interesting because Cheney was a congressman from Wyoming, that a state with the lowest population in the country, but he had outsized influence and played a big role. I remember when Cheney was picked to do the selection committee to find a vice presidential candidate for George Bush. And after a couple months, he says, I couldn't find a better candidate except me. So that's who it is. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to go well. Not going to go well. Then they bring Rumsfeld in. Oh my goodness, Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Rummy come back from the Ford days.
Of course, it was Rumsfeld that really
There's a reason
contributed.
why you don't hear from George Bush anymore, isn't there? I mean, Dick Cheney pretty much ran the whole office for 8 years, or
No, that's not accurate. Bush, look, I know that's the story, but I know differently than that. Todd, if you want to weigh in on this, I mean, Cheney was an outsized figure. He was arguably the most powerful vice president in the history of the United States. There's no doubt about that. And I'm trying to disrespect Dick Cheney. He was an honorable American who cared about this country, but he was a political wonk, and he was a guy that knew how to work the system to effect. Kind of like we go back to days of Tip O'Neill, who knew how to work the House to great effect.
Oh yeah.
So as a vice president and as Secretary of Defense and as a congressman, he was very effective. And I think was he White House Chief of Staff at one point too?
He was under Ford, correct?
Ford, yeah. So I mean, he's had
the youngest. He was like 33 or something.
Yeah, and now he's gone at 84. I mean, imagine this. This guy had such bad health. He lived in one of the most stressful lives you could have. and he went to the age of 84. But there's no coming back from the shameful behavior that he committed because he didn't like Donald Trump and endorsing his opponent. That's just, I mean,
Right.
his opponent is a walking moron.
Well,
Yeah.
he should have been like George W. Bush and just set it out. Don't endorse anybody. Just stay out of politics.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree. But look, I mean, we have to respect him. I mean, we should respect him for what he tried to contribute to this country. But again, back to Dick Cheney before he dicks you. Okay.
I love it because it's like he's saying something bad, but he's not. That's good.
That's right. Yes. Am I being offensive or am I not?
That's hilarious. But we'll see when his funeral is. I may end up going to it, but I'll keep you guys posted on that one.
All right. Please let us know. I doubt it'll be in Wyoming. It'll probably be in DC somewhere.
Right. We're going to see how that is. But at this point, he's been out of office for so long. Who's showing up to really protest? You know what I mean?
Oh, protest. I wouldn't worry about that.
No.
But I'd be curious to see who shows up in support, in respect.
Right.
I would think that George Walker Bush would show up. I would imagine.
Right. I would imagine, George W. shows up. And Vance will probably go over there. Pence will go, former vice presidents will show up. I don't know that Trump would show up, but Vance will probably show up just, because he's the current VP, They'll do something at the cathedral probably.
Yeah. Maybe we can get Hillary to go. He's had higher office than she ever got.
He did. Hillary, you may have been the nominee, but I actually was vice president. So that's higher than you ever got. Sorry. You were 16.
Bingo.
That's it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Well, Kamala actually outdid Hillary, so I'm sure that it still rankles her chains to this day. My goodness.
Right. Oh well.
The least liked candidate became the vice president. Go figure that one out.
Well, the candidate that called her running mate a racist on a national debate repeatedly. She didn't let it slip out. It was intentional. And then she becomes a running mate. It just shows you the whole thing was cooked up. Joe Biden was never sentient. He wasn't lucid. He's just a collection of, amphetamines that were hopped up about a third of the time. I mean, I don't think the amphetamines even worked at some point, because that's why we see the Joe Biden who's just clueless, standing in Normandy looking out this way when all the other world leaders are over here walking for a photograph. And he's like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did you ever watch how he, out in the open, he just kind of look off? Like when they do the videos of the beach, when he was at the beach, the way he would walk and just look, his whole family's going a different way. And he's just strutting along, like some old guy who's lost.
It's the classic dementia signs.
Yeah.
The Christmas event they did with the children, where Joe was reading with the children and Joe was there. And when it was time to leave, Jill started leaving and Joe started running for the children. It was like, whoa. She had to come back and grab him. And the look on his face, his hands out, the look on his face. And I was like, oh my God, somebody stop him, please.
Guys, I would never in a million years ever want to inflict the agony, misery, and suffering this nation went under Joe Biden. But I do miss the comedic relief. Every day was another clip.
Well, you might get it out of New York City now. I mean,
no. For all of his faults and evil traits about him, he's polished. He's quick-witted, and he's it's so it's not that's not going to be the downfall. The downfall is going to be he's going to lie, which he did to get in office. He's not going to create the free things and restrict rent and control things. First off, he's the mayor. He's not the dictator. People forget that. There's a council. The council's got to vote on things.
Exactly. But that's just it. I mean, is he going to try to sway things? But my thoughts are there's a lot of rich people in New York City, and you're talking about grabbing their money and trying to give it to poor people or whatever he wants to do to make a communist nation out of the city, and which is our largest city in the country, as far as I know. So, yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out, because rich people don't take too kindly to people trying to reach into their wallet without permission.
Well, I'm surprised that there are any millionaires left in New York, and most of them have left. I mean, not most, but a lot have left. High net worth individuals have been fleeing New York for 20 years, and the pace is only picking up. Now it'll just be a flood. I think. You'll probably see upper West Side apartments drop to no value here. So maybe that's how he'll get the cheap rents.
when you look across the river into New Jersey, like North Bergen and Elizabeth area and stuff, they have been building that up through the years. They've been putting buildings up and stuff. They've been getting a lot of growth out of New York City. People have been migrating out. And I think you're right. There might probably be a lot more people saying, nah, we're not keeping our business here anymore.
Well, of course, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, you guys know him. He did a tweet last night. He said that after the polls close tomorrow night, this is on Monday night, after the polls close tomorrow night, I will impose a 100% tariff on anyone moving to Texas from New York City.
Right?
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
fleeing is not the answer. Staying and fighting and changing things and actually showing up to vote is the right answer to fix that
Yeah.
city.
But,
going
when you
somewhere else,
when you lose your voice, Todd, there is
Yeah.
a such thing as voting with your feet, right?
No,
It is what people have had to do in the past. Is when they weren't heard, then they left, and that
But
pretty
yeah.
much sent a message. That's what's happening in California now.
But you got to think it was close enough that had these people that are probably going to leave showing up to vote, this guy's not going to be mayor. I mean, 35,000 people show up to more show up to vote. I mean, I get it. Sliwa took a lot of votes there, but 30-some thousand people show up. 40-some thousand people. Cuomo's in there. I hate to say that, but not this this racist, jihadist, whatever you want to call him. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look,
Yeah,
we can look at it any way we want. Cuomo's a disaster. He's a mass
Sure.
murderer,
Yeah.
what he did with COVID, putting the infected into nursing homes, killing off grandma and grandpa. All those things are true about Cuomo, but even so, he'd still be better than Eric Adams or Bill de Blasio.
Yeah.
Or probably even better than Bloomberg, who was a fake Republican,
Right.
and that's hard to say, but at least it's true. Well, I mean, here we are. So it's another day. The Democrats are happy.
According to New York Post, Trump White House snubs ex-VP Dick Cheney, offers no condolence on his death. So maybe what I just said about J.D. Vance showing up may not happen. I don't know.
Well, I understand that the Undersecretary's assistant for making coffee in the Directorate of Latin American Affairs and Department of State will be attending on behalf of the U.S. government. Yeah.
The low guy on the totem pole. There you go.
Exactly. Now, look, there's no love lost, just like when John McCain died. McCain,
Right.
People are angry at Trump and said, he disparaged veterans. He didn't disparage veterans. He disparaged John McCain, who betrayed this nation and fell for the Steele dossier, hook, line, and sinker, and gave that to the FBI. It is John McCain who participated in the fraud of the American people to steal elections. John McCain, unwittingly, he did it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he did it. And he's the one that started the war words attacking Donald Trump. Trump didn't attack McCain. His comments on McCain came after McCain attacked him. And one thing you should know, you attack Donald Trump, you better be ready to put your big boy pants on because it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, that's a Trump trait right there, man. He's fine with you until you attack him. Once you attack him, it's no holds barred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He don't hold back.
No.
Yeah, homie, don't play that.
I love that. Homie the clown.
That's right. That was good times in living color. My goodness. Anyway.
John, what's going on up there in New Hampshire? We closing out on the end of the hour here.
Well, let's see. What is going on up here in New Hampshire? Nashua area, they did have a proposal. I was surprised it didn't pass, but they had a proposal, but what they call it, social districts. Name like that kind of might turn people off, but if it did not pass or failed to pass, and what it really meant was to create districts where people can, say, buy an alcoholic beverage, say downstairs here at this restaurant or across the street. And they would have areas where you can take it outside of the restaurant and still consume your beverage and enjoy it.
Okay.
And apparently the state had passed some law allowing towns and cities to do this. And Nashville voted it down. I'm surprised that they did that, but they did.
How stupid! I mean, you only increase the number of people who may stop by and eat, have a beverage, whatever the case.
That's why they put it on there. They thought it would benefit for downtown business.
Plus tax dollars that you get out of it too. Come on.
I don't know. They did say social district, and when you say something like that with today's mindset, the way the country's going, I think some people might think of some kind of communist thing. I don't know. It's right. That almost sounds that way.
Or social distancing. Maybe it sounds like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that because when I first saw social district, I'm like, oh, I got to read this. And when I read it, I go, oh, that sounds misnamed.
It's where nightlife happens. It's your social district. It's a technical, I guess, bureaucratic term. It's a nightlife area, whatever.
I don't know. But anyway, it failed to pass.
Idiots.
What else we got going on? I don't think we got too much going on. I mean, my resource here isn't giving me a whole lot. Ruas gives GOP something to chair. That's a gentleman I was telling you about. He won his mayoral race in Manchester, which is our Queen City. So that's pretty good. That's the second time winning it. He was preceded by God, I can't think of her name. It's not that important now anyway, but she was a Democrat. Pretty much run the city into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's their mo.
It's New Hampshire. I'm surprised you didn't lead with a Sununu story. Isn't that the only politician in New Hampshire?
Oh, Johnson Nunu running for Senate. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like, can we get a better choice? We have Sununu, we have Brown. God, I can't think of anybody else. I know there's some other names. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But those are probably the most two known names, Sununu and Brown. And people
Right.
look around going, well, okay, where's our third choice?
Right.
Give me
Is there
something I can
anybody
vote on.
else? Is there anybody else? Oh.
Well, there was an interesting gentleman that ran a few years ago, but to my understanding, he's just not looking to throw his hat in the ring at the moment. So keeping fingers crossed, maybe Mr. Bolduc will once again take advantage of this open seat, because I think he would actually have a chance this time around. But I'd like to see the general run again.
Yeah, but you got to think. I mean, he got burned by some Republicans, and I understand his hang up on that for sure.
Yeah, he did. Well, we know Cheney. What's the other one that lost his mind? McConnell.
Yeah.
McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
He pretty much closed up his pack and left. See, that's what I like about Don.
He's a sad
man.
man.
He was not going to be bought or sold. He was, self-made. He was his own man. He was going to stand his ground. He's going to stand on principle. And you're going to come to him and say, well, you know what? If you want to bend my way or do things my way or be my favor or scratch my back, I got PAC money here. And Don's like, yeah, you can just take that right out of town. He had no use for that kind of thing. And he was the type of guy pretty much said, some pretty big names. And he's like, I ain't got nope, nuh-uh. So that's what I liked about him. He had integrity and he stood his ground. And I think he was smart. He had some common sense going on for himself, or has. It's not like he's passed or anything. So he has. It's just that last time was a rough election. I mean, with Hassan and the way she run him down, that she lied about him. And I don't think he quite got the support from the people that he deserved at the time. So, I think people should have stood up more for him, but that's how politics goes sometimes. People don't really get behind their candidate. And that's one of the issues I have is we're sending people to DC. We're complaining they're not doing what we want them to do, but do we continue to support them in DC? Do we go visit them and make sure that they're looking out for the people's interest, or we just leave them twisting the wind and open to the wolves in DC,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you nominate somebody, for crying out loud, you should push to the finish line. I don't get it.
Yeah. I get behind them 100%.
Yeah.
I know we were pushing here. We were all for it. So.
Yeah. And Trump's people should have came in too, I think, and it would have helped.
I don't know, because we had before
you don't think so?
Don, what was his name? Corey. I can almost think of it here. Corky. Anyway, he was adamantly against Trump. In fact, he was behind getting Trump removed from the ballot.
Oh, okay.
He, as far as he was concerned, Trump's endorsement ruined it for him in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So it's kind of like one of those, situations where a lot of moderates or independents may not exactly want to support somebody that Trump would back.
Yeah.
So Trump's a little polarized.
Well, I can get that, but here's the thing: General Don Bolduc, American hero, definitely not somebody who's radical, for crying out loud, and somebody who's going to stand the ground and stand up for New Hampshire. That's bottom line.
Yeah, man, stand up for Granite Staters. Let's see him do it.
Yeah, I think he did, and people turned their back on him in a lot of ways, sadly.
Yeah, they did. The mega crowd, because Don did support Haley. And so mega crowd kind of like, well, then, dude, do what's right. So what? He supported Haley. You know what? Haley supported Don Bolduc. Where Trump didn't step up, she did. So.
Yep. And once Trump was the nominee, guess what? I dare say they all voted for him. So move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Nikki Haley thing didn't help.
Yeah.
Remember, we had her chief of staff on here and we interviewed her.
Right.
And I've shared my views.
Yeah.
All right. We should be hitting the news right here in a second, right? I'm waiting for that music.
We are very close. Very close. About a minute away or so. So that's what you're looking for is music then. Man, play a song. Play us out with a song.
Does the Colonel got any new music out by chance? Maybe we could.
I do. I've got a few out, but I've got The Grass is Greener, a song about America. It's pretty cool.
Let's play it on the next hour. What do you think?
I'll have to send it to you.
Uh-oh.
I'll do that.
All right. Yeah,
You can jack it into your computer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break here and listen to the top of the hour news. So please don't go nowhere and enjoy some news, and we'll be right back soon.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at wsmn.live.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. The death toll has risen to 12 after Tuesday's UPS cargo plane crash in Kentucky just after takeoff. 3 crew members and 9 others on the ground not yet identified. Governor Andy Beshear.
What you see are mangled remnants of what was in its path, completely burnt and blackened.
Authorities say the left engine separated from the plane just after takeoff. The FAA saying it'll reduce flight capacity by 10% at 40 major airports nationwide, possibly thousands of flights per day. The reason, the government shutdown is now the longest in history. President Trump's global tariffs went before the Supreme Court today. While the court's liberals made it clear they believe the president has overstepped his authority, the conservative justices appear to be split. Officials in Chicago say a teacher at a daycare center was violently dragged out in front of children by federal immigration officials today. This is ABC News. Among other issues that voters weighed in on yesterday, a proposition passed in Texas that allocates $3 billion to understand dementia.
The Dementia Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, approved by the state's voters yesterday, creates a network of specialists involved in neurological research for patients and their families nationwide.
There's going to be more opportunity to have an advanced potential treatment.
Alzheimer's Association CEO Dr. Joanne Pike says the vote here triples her organization's funding for research into an illness that affects 7 million Americans. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
McDonald's reported a boost in third quarter sales thanks to the relaunched Snack Wrap. But Chairman CEO Chris Kempczinski issued a warning consumers remain under economic pressure, so he says McDonald's will lean heavily into discounts. Tennis great Venus Williams is planning to play for a 33rd straight season on the WTA Tour starting in January in Auckland. Dave Packer, ABC News.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COOL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Continuing the legacy started in 1904, Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument Incorporated continues to provide the same high-quality monument, custom headstone, and stoneworking craftsmanship today that they built their reputation on over 100 years ago, servicing Nashua, New Hampshire, as well as nearby areas in Massachusetts, such as Lowell, Billerica, Chelmsford, and beyond. From creating custom monuments to memorialize, to landscaping and granite work or restorative services, each job is done to your satisfaction and is backed by decades of experience and integrity. If you're thinking about stonework, think Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument. Visit online at gatecitymonument.com. Stop by and meet Roger at 321 West Hollis Street in Nashua, or call 603-883-7141. That's 603-883-7141. Gate City Monument. Memorials of distinction for people who care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, you're listening to the Common Sense Conservatives right here, WSMN. So let's see, guys. Did you hear about this possible scandal? Soros Network funneled $40 million to Mamdani.
Of course.
Currently, Mamdani's campaign is facing explosive allegations that it benefited from tens of millions of dollars in donations funneled from the George Soros-linked charities as part of an elaborate scheme that may have violated federal tax laws.
And nothing's probably going to happen. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, come on. You just took the wind out of my sails. Now. I was so excited. I thought, wow, they're going to take him down.
If anything, there'll be a small fine that a multi-billionaire, I'm not stuttering, can afford.
Do you think they're just going to pick up the edge of the carpet and sweep it under?
Or that, yeah.
Like they usually do. These things die in time. Yeah.
The small fines, usually it's like, okay, the government gets a win. You know, you did bad, smack on the wrist or a hand, move on. It's sad. Yeah. It won't be much of anything if it goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll still be mayor.
Of course. Yeah. He's not going to get kicked out of office or anything like that.
He'll still be a American hating commie. You know, supposedly, from my understanding, his own mother said that he and his father used to talk trash about the United States of America and how we're responsible for so many deaths and how we were what they call Nazi nation or something for our history.
Why do these people come here though? And I don't mean to these people.
Because it's a takeover. Yeah.
I'm talking about, I get there are people that do that, but there are people that come here because they want a better life, but they hate the country. I'm talking about those types of people. What's wrong with them? I get those people who have a motive to come here to destroy the country and run for public office. Yeah, I understand why they're coming here.
I think we might have seen some people that come here resentfully, right? So we've seen some people that brought in from the Mideast that really didn't want to leave their homes, but they were
back.
Almost like forced migration. Did we see that during the Obama administration? And
no American forces went over there with bayonets affixed, telling you got to go to America.
Okay, well, maybe I should reword. Maybe they needed to leave due to violence and things like that, but they didn't want to have to leave, so they kind of feel resentful, and they may actually feel resentful because we brought war over there after we were attacked in 9/11.
I could see that in instances for sure from individuals. I could see people feeling that way. Sure.
I mean, I can't excuse their behavior, but I'm just trying to give a logical explanation to your question.
That can make sense for sure. Yeah.
So, Chris, you got thoughts over here? You got your mic muted. What's going on?
He's thinking.
I see the wheels. I see the wheels.
He rebooted.
I'm just listening, and I put my mic on mute because I cleared my throat. Don't want to disturb the broadcast. Yeah, I got lots of thoughts on this, but we only have an hour.
Uh-oh. This could get good, ladies and gentlemen.
No. Just contemplating life here, and it's during the break I was looking at Twitter and just the vile, repulsive behavior of people on that platform. They just expose themselves all the time. I never liked it. When Musk bought it, it became an equal opportunity hate center. Before it was just conservatives who were attacked, but now everyone gets attacked, and it's just really sick to listen to this stuff. I mean, it's not healthy to read that stuff. Yet people delve their whole lives into that social media nonsense. I mean, if people's main purpose, look, during the break, I was scrolling through, and all this they've started already. The propaganda push is coming now as the Democrats are caving. A dozen Democrats have privately said that they're willing to discuss ending the shutdown. They're willing to vote for the flat bill, but they want a promise of a vote on their bogus, Unaffordable Care Act subsidies.
Right.
So they're doing that because they feel they're feeling their oats now. They're sowing their oats because they think they've had a big night, but you see these things and what they're posting online, and they're attacking Trump, saying, he's responsible for the end of SNAP and he's denying people food stamps. And it's just a patent lie. I mean, they're the ones who wrote the bill. They're the ones who's moronic, corrupt, thieving, lying, ethically compromised Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, told them, just vote for the bill. Read it after you vote. And it had a sunset clause of 30 September 2025. That date is coming. Now they're trying to pin that on Donald Trump. He wasn't even in government. In 2010, he was still doing that show, The Apprentice. He wasn't nowhere near government. And they're trying to blame him for this, And on top of that, a court has ordered that he pay money out of the emergency contingency fund. That's illegal. That money is not to make current payments. That money is if there's a data outage, if there's a hurricane or a tornado or something like that. That's what those contingency funds are for. It's illegal to spend them otherwise. So what's going to happen is Trump is going to spend the money from SNAP. They're going to beat him up for starving poor people. And by the way, people who make 400% of the poverty line qualify for food stamps in this country. That's not exactly poor. Not exactly poor. A family of four making 400% of the poverty level. So the government says if you're at this level, you're in poverty. Above that, you're not in poverty. But if you're 400% above it, you still get food stamps. This is sick. It's twisted. So, they're going to blame him. And then later on, they're going to come back and say, well, Trump broke the law. He's lawless. He doesn't respect the law. He used contingency money to give people food stamps.
Of course.
It's sick. It's twisted. These people are just, and people fall for it. They're dumb as a box of rocks.
So what he should do is say, Congress, here's what you need to do. You need to open up the government, change that law, and then I could use that money. But of course, once you open the government, we don't have to worry about it, right?
So you're telling me a judge has tried to force him to take an action that would break the law?
Well, the Supreme Court has violated the Constitution. Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but equal, violation of the Constitution's 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause.
Right.
In addition to that, we've got other rulings here. We have the Supreme Court's ruling that putting Americans into concentration camps wasn't illegal just because they are Japanese. That was against the Constitution. That violated due process. They also violate Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment. They pass things all the time. Affirmative action is racist and it's unlawful. It's a violation of the Constitution. It violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. And it undermines the concept that all are equal before the law. Affirmative action, giving someone preferential points to get a job in government or go to university because of their skin color is racist. If it was advantage given to white people, people lose their minds. It's given to black people. We have a 60-year history of giving people advantage that they didn't deserve. That's not an attack on black Americans. People who think black Americans need a hand like that are just insulting, and they're bigots and borderline racist if they think black people can't succeed unless you give them an artificial advantage, which is unfair to everyone else. No, it's the court allowed affirmative action. The court allowed the internment, the concentration camp destruction of the lives of Japanese Americans. The court allowed separate but equal accommodations, all clear violations. This is the Supreme Court. I'm not even talking about federal district courts. They're out of control. I'm not even talking about local courts. I'm talking about the Supreme Court of the land, whose sole job is to ensure that laws passed by the government are in accord with the Constitution. The court's not in accord with the Constitution. I'm out of order. You're out of order.
This whole court is out
you're
of
right.
order.
It's going to be in the lower courts, especially. It's getting to be a lot of political activism in the courts. They're not really looking at the issues in an unbiased way.
Well, it's not just that. We have district courts giving judges authority to adjudicate judicial matters related to the federal government in that district. They don't have authority to apply these things to the entire country, yet they do it all the time. We have a federal judge here in the District of Manhattan, federal judge in D.C. that puts this, this restraint on the Trump administration. They have no authority to do that. These are activist judges. Whether they're appointed by Nixon or by Reagan or by Trump himself or by a Democrat, doesn't matter. That's not their role. And it kills me that people aren't this attuned. You don't have to be a lawyer to realize this. You just have to be a student of American history, a student of the Constitution, and it doesn't take much. In case you've missed it, folks, it's a short read. Not hard to follow. You can even read just the amendments, and it won't take you that long.
Anyway. Absolutely. So I guess Florida right now, DeSantis and a number of mayors are gearing up for an exodus from New York, apparently.
Well, I saw a survey. Of course, surveys are as good as a survey is,
Sure.
But apparently 2.12 million New Yorkers have indicated that they want to leave if this clown becomes the mayor. Well, we'll see if it happens. People make statements all the time. I'm still waiting for Cher and for De Niro and for all these other losers to leave America. Why don't they go to Ireland? It's not even Irish anymore. Go hang out with your Middle Easterners, your Africans, your Central Asians, your Eastern Europeans. Go hang out there because you won't find the Irish. They're disappearing in their country as their country's taken over. And they just elected a new leader there who also hates the Irish and wants to turn the country over to foreigners. So whatever. I still wait. When the day De Niro leaves, I'll chip in for that flight, man. How much do they need?
Right. Yeah. Well, Boca Raton.
I think De Niro's got plenty of money.
Yeah. Boca Raton mayor is already going out talking, trying to recruit businesses from New York to come down. He's like, yeah, we're ready. We were open for business. So, I mean, why not, right? Get out of there and then see what happens. You don't have those tax dollars. You're going to have a
but
lot of.
the problem
Go
with
ahead.
this is that these people, we were discussing about voting with your feet earlier, but these people didn't have enough ambition, as you pointed out, to get out there and vote to keep this guy from getting in. And now they want to move it. It'd have been a lot less energy, as you were pointing out earlier, Todd,
Sure.
if they would
Would
have
have
just
been.
went out and voted him not to get in, vote
Would
for
have
someone.
been.
Problem
Yeah.
is they weren't left with a whole lot of choices except for I can never say his name, Silwa.
Right, but here's the thing: you
Sliwa.
have so many
Sliwa.
people that
There
sit
you
on
go.
the sidelines or sit on their hands when it comes to politics. Oh, it doesn't affect me. I don't like it. Whatever. And then all of a sudden you get something like this, and then you're like, well, we need to leave. It's like, well, you should have been active the entire time that you've lived there, whether you're born and
Voting is
raised there.
cheaper, yeah.
So,
but the
voting's a lot
thing of it
cheaper.
is, these New Yorkers, even your conservative New Yorkers, aren't that conservative. You look at them and go, oh God, you're a liberal, even though they claim they're conservative. And they're in New York City, maybe they're conservative, but in other places you wouldn't think so much.
Sure.
So when they decide to vote with their feet, or when they decide to move to places like Boca Raton, what kind of political ideals are they getting? Are they bringing with them? And
Right.
what's going to happen to those areas?
That's true. That's true. But they did it to themselves, essentially. I mean, honestly, decades of voting for nonsense like this. And the colonel in the first hour talked about, a line after Giuliani, a line of mayors. That's it. Ran it into the ground till you get this problem at the bottom of the barrel candidates.
Yeah, they put down Rudy Giuliani, but from my understanding, he did a great deal of good for New York City.
No, he
cleaned up
did.
Hunts Point. I mean, my God, he
but-
got rid of a lot of the trash and the garbage.
Like the colonel said, after Bloomberg came in, he ran as a Republican because he needed to at that point. And then all of a sudden he became an quote unquote independent. And of course, from his mayoralship, it's been downhill for sure.
Yeah.
His second term, he really ran into the ground.
Yeah, no, it's oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, it's the world is crazy, it's absolutely crazy. And hopefully we can control this and get this back under. I thought we were making progress here, but it looks like we're not. There's that word.
This is the issue, and this is what we brought up about Donald Trump's win. That's 4 years of Donald Trump. He's not fixing everything in 4 years. This country's not going to do a complete turnaround in 4 years. We have to prepare ourselves when he can no longer run for office, which is at the end of the next almost 3 years,
Right.
Just over.
Yeah,
So
well, it'd be less than 3 years now. Roughly.
I mean,
3 years.
a lot of people are looking at JD Vance, but we got to think about what we're going to do. We need a game plan now for when the time comes to vote then.
But there's a lot of Republicans that have issues with JD apparently, and I'm seeing it on social media and people I'm talking to, longtime Republicans that have some issue with him. They're looking elsewhere now, so we're going to have probably a fight in amongst ourselves as well come primary caucus season. Very likely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is we get a bit like the left, and it becomes two negative choices. It narrows down. You look at this, going, man, two sellouts, great. Thanks for the choices, guys.
What we would love to see is like 2, 3, 4, 5, solid candidates run for president on the Republican side, and then figure it out amongst themselves, be positive, and then at the end, you got 4 or 5 really strong people essentially running for president, getting behind whoever the actual candidate ultimately would be. I mean, that would be the way to go instead of these people sulking on the side that they didn't win.
I think we need another Donald Trump is what we need. You think about it, Donald Trump basically come to the party and said, "I'm taking you over." And they fought him. And he goes, no, you don't understand. You've already lost. Just stop fighting with it and get on with the mega movement because you've lost. And he proved his point. He's like, no, it's my party now.
The debates, he started off on the ends, right? And the next thing you know, each debate, he got closer to the middle until those poll numbers were the top. And he just stayed there. And he's been in the middle ever since.
Yeah, that man can work it. I'll tell you what. He's the only guy that I know that went in the Globe and says, no, you suck. Here's what's going to happen now.
Yeah, well, he said what a lot of people have been thinking for decades, but just too afraid to say anything, and they let him say it for them. Yeah,
the world didn't know what to make of Donald Trump when he came on the stage. They were like, I think a free ride is about to end."
Right,
and it has. But he's making some interesting deals. I mean, he's pulling it together. By the time when he leaves office, things ought to be pretty good in this country. I think we'll be on the right track. I hope. Just a matter of finding that guy who's going to follow up with him, isn't it? Find that guy who's going to start following that same pattern and keep this country going. You got a locomotive rolling. It takes a lot of steam or power to stop it. You may as well just keep the momentum, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that people need to remember, we've talked about this many times. We were here before Trump. We'll be here after Trump. And, those who want to jump on the bandwagon, that's all fine and dandy. But keep up the fervor, keep up the fight. And just need to find a standard bearer after this that can stand up to the scrutiny. But I'll tell you, if anyone comes under even a fraction of the scrutiny that Trump has come under, it's going to be hard to stand up. I mean, you got to be really confident who you are and have the ability to withstand withering attacks. They still attack Trump. They're blaming him for all kinds of stuff right now. He has nothing to do with it. They're blaming him for the food stamps. It's not Trump's responsibility. Trump has no control of that. These idiots in the Senate refused to pass the damn budget. 13 times during Joe Biden's 4 years, they passed a flat resolution to continue spending at the current levels rather than pass a budget. And Republicans voted along with them. 13 times, Democrats have now voted down the exact same bill that they voted for during. So, I mean, that's where the argument starts and ends. Everything that comes after that's just lies, propaganda, misinformation, disinformation. The Republican Party is weak and callow. Well, that's redundant. Weak and callow. It's the same thing. but it's they where are they at? Where are their ads? Where are all these rich donors that supposedly are out there? Where are the Koch brothers and all these others who supposedly pour money in and Peter Thiel into Republican things? They should be running a blitz right now. Hey, the argument starts here. Democrats 13 times passed this resolution, and Republicans cooperated to keep the government in operation. Now, 13 times they've denied Americans food stamps. 13 times Democrats in the Senate have denied Americans food stamps. 13 times Democrats in the Senate have ensured that children go hungry tonight. 13 times. And then, the next commercial is, why do we have 42 million people on food stamps? Well, because people that make 400%, 4 times the poverty line, qualify for food stamps. That's not legit. That's not right.
Right.
There are people who legitimately need it, fall on hard times, and food stamps are not meant to be a lifelong, entitlement. They're meant to be a short-term bridge to you get your bum off the bottom and get back up and contribute to the workforce. But this whole concept is, I tell you what, I'm going to have to avoid Twitter for the next few days because after last night, these lunatics have got their claws out and they're just as dumb as they've ever been. In fact, their responses to what's going on and their profanity and attacking people. Attacking Elon Musk. What the heck has Elon Musk got to do with any of this other than expose New York City's corrupt ballot? Did you see the ballot? Have you guys seen the ballot from
No,
air?
I didn't see it. I'm gonna have to Google this now. And I've heard about.
I've seen it. I mean, you've got Zoran Mondami's name on there twice from air.
Yeah.
You've got Curtis Sliwa on there twice from air, and down at the bottom in the corner, you've got Andrew Cuomo. You got to go looking for it. It's twisted. Their system of voting isn't voting. It isn't democracy. It's a scam. It's a Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes, is what it is. It's not real. It's not real. By the way, actually, Publishers Clearinghouse is real. I don't mean to insult Publishers Clearinghouse.
Do they have ranked choice?
They had that in the primary, but they don't have it in the list. The selection.
Just primary only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster within itself. What did I read here? Something about Democrats vote against the budget bill and then complain about it. Please make it make sense. Yeah, they're voting against it because they're waiting for that $1.2 trillion additional debt that they want to put on the country that we can't afford. We just broke $38 trillion. $38 trillion is a lot of debt for a country. I mean, we could manage it over a few decades. We could probably manage and mitigate the issue if we had, like Chris said, a budget. If they balance the budget and stick with it, we might actually be able to manage our debt and stuff and work our way out of it.
Right.
I don't know if people realize it or not, but the kind of debt we're starting to hold and the way we're managing money in this country is the way countries collapse. Rome collapsed because the way it manages money.
Sure.
Spain was the richest country in the world at one time and had the world's currency was silver. I'm trying to remember. I think they oversaturated it or something, and they didn't build up their own economy because they were relying on the silver that they were introducing into the economy. And so when they oversaturated it, they collapsed. England went by the same way we're going now. England did the same stupid things that we're doing now, and they've lost their dominance in the world. So we're on our path. We're in. Do I hear an echo, or is it me?
There's an echo.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're definitely on a path. We're on a downturn, and if we don't start managing our debt, if we don't start bringing balance to our budget, this country's going to hell in a handbasket. There's no two ways about it. The only thing that's keeping us on right now is a need for world currency. That's the U.S. dollar. But once they have a replacement for that, BRICS kicks up, it becomes empowered. We lose.
Well, we lose in so many ways. We lose in so many ways. Sounds like the echo's gone now.
Yeah, maybe I'm just speaking too loud. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't normally do that,
Are you getting a message from above?
Divine intervention?
Divine something. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Right.
that's good, Todd.
Well, a Maine Democrat, he's in a vulnerable seat. Of course, Donald Trump won the seat up there. Jared Golden, excuse me, Democrat from Maine, announced he's not going to run for the U.S. House this next year. He said he's seen the writing, seen the writing on the wall. And of course, he's had enough of the dirty politics, especially from the extreme left. He's calling out his own party here. Of course, if you want to see the whole article, go to Fox News. But yeah, Democrats are starting to opt out because of the extreme left at this point, which is a good sign. Anyway, just something I saw. I'm just reading the headlines here.
Yeah, no. I just there was a hiccup on my side again. I think I have a connection issue tonight. Didn't quite catch all that. Yeah. Anyway, it's here we are. The Democrats are they're loving us. They're absolutely loving us. You know, when Republicans lose, they're on social media and they talk about it. They don't whine about it. Like, hey, what do we do wrong? What do we got to fix? By and large, the Democrats are like, neener, we won. Well, enjoy your moment. Enjoy your moment because you'll be defeated in the Supreme Court. You'll be defeated on the ground. Your criminal alien invaders are being deported at a record rate, including a fleeing criminal who fled into her school. And now they're using that to cry about how they arrested her. They arrested without a warrant. You need a warrant to arrest a criminal alien invader. They're a criminal by definition. Right. It's like, so if a cops drive by a bank robbery, they're supposed to wait until someone shows up with a warrant to go after the suspects? No. Right. This is a criminal alien invader. She was wanted. They don't have to have a warrant to arrest her. She's in the country illegally. She should be deported, and she should have to pay for the cost of her flight.
There you go. Boom. Get her out.
They want to whine and cry about due process. A lot of these people have already had due process. They were told they didn't qualify for immunity, told that they had to leave the country. Still here 10 years later, Trump's removing them, and all of a sudden they're saying due process.
They're not entitled to due process. They're criminals. I mean, that's like saying that the terrorists who invaded Israel on October 7th, 2023, well, they're entitled to due process. No, they're torturing and murdering people. Now, all people are going to lose their minds. Oh, you're comparing to honest people crossing the border for a better life to that? No, I'm comparing criminals to criminals. A crime is a crime. And violating our sovereignty is a felony. It's a felony. It's not, oops, I'm sorry. I floated across the Rio Grande, against the current. I magically made it to your side. And I just happened to lose all my identification in a plastic sack hidden along the border under a mesquite tree. And then I came in the country and I just found this Social Security number and used it because it seemed like no one else was using it. And I just stole jobs from lower income Americans, especially Black Americans. I lowered wages. I brought hepatitis and malaria and HIV along with me as I crossed the border. You get the picture. You get the picture.
Yeah, absolutely. So your neighbor Vermont there, Senator Bernie Sanders, is urging Democrats to stay strong after they're emboldened after their wins yesterday. So we may continue with the shutdown for a little bit, according to Bernie Sanders. Another Fox News headline, by the way.
Another Democratic socialist.
Yeah, dangerous person. We're emboldened after our victories. We should keep it shut down. You're not in a position of strength here, people. I'm sorry.
We were emboldened. They've been so weak. It's incredible. I mean, they've really lost a lot. They shot themselves in the foot time and time again.
Sure.
And they're still shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, I think the country's pretty much looking at the Democrats going, you're not making compromises here. In fact, they're trying to lean on what? What Chris said it earlier, sunset provisions and stuff. They're trying to lean on COVID era funding and stuff for Obamacare, in which case it's out. And they want to replace it now with more money. It's no, dude, that's not how this works. You don't just get to claim against a pandemic from back then. It's not happening now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, people are still trying it. It may not be happening, but people are certainly trying it. And they've been trying it for a long, long time. They get away with this stuff. Anyway, so guys, do we have a guest on tap next week? Just a quick question there.
No, but I've got somebody in mind I may reach out to unless you have somebody else you want to reach out to.
No, I was just asking because for some reason I thought we had a guest tonight, and I was so busy with the election yesterday. That's an 18-hour job for me.
Right, I imagine.
It's a long day, and so my mind was a little frazzled earlier. I'm like, I thought we had a guest, and I'm looking, and I'm like, I couldn't find we had a guest tonight. And I'm like, maybe I confused it with next week. Apparently, I just confused it with the past.
I think so, because there was one time we were gonna have a guest, but he had to cancel last minute, and he carried over, and that's probably what you were thinking.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was. Yep.
Holden says, John, don't interfere with an enemy while they're destroying themselves.
Right.
Good advice, Holden. Just
Right.
stand my ground over here and let them be as they tear their own selves apart.
Yep. That's a good old saying. I like that. You know, don't interrupt your enemy while they're about to make a mistake. I think that's another version of it.
So I think a top of the or bottom of the our station identification may be in order. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Common Sense Conserves right here, WSMN 1590 on your AM dial and WSMN 95.3 on your FM dial. If you enjoy the conversation and you're at home and you want to stay engaged with us, you're welcome to join us at wsmn.live.
Yeah, hey, you know, and watch us on the internets, the interwebs, as
The
Todd likes to
interwebs.
say. The interwebs.
Right. I'm just scrolling through, looking at some of the highlights here. Fox News put a new little button here underneath their US that says blue city crime. So that way we can track the crime in the blue cities. There's enough of it. We could sit there and talk about that for decades. Come on. Blue city crime. Cities controlled by Democrats have a lot of crime. Be very careful before you move somewhere like that.
I think I just found out what happened to people in California.
All right,
What happened?
Dangerous radiation levels detected in San Francisco. The San Francisco Health Department is sounding the alarm over high levels of radioactive plutonium-239 Pu-239 detected in the air in Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. Plutonium-239 is radioactive metal used for nuclear weapons and has been linked to lung disease and cancer. So things are a little loopy in California. That might be why.
I thought it was the lead in the water.
It's probably a number of things. Apparently, the DOJ is now probing Black Lives Matter. Have you heard this one?
Oh, no, go ahead.
For what, please? Fraud?
The Department of Justice is conducting an investigation to Black Lives Matter, probing how the organization handled millions of dollars in donations amid the 2020 protests following the murder of George Floyd, according to multiple reports. The federal investigators have issued subpoenas and executed a search warrant in their investigation into the anti-racism organization and whether or not defrauded donors who contributed over $90 million to its cause. Was that how did they word that? Investigation of the anti-racism organization. So the racist anti-racism organization?
It's it's not anti-racism. That's its declaration. It is racist.
Yeah.
Its whole purpose is black supremacy. It's not about equality. It's not justice under law. It's not about equal treatment. It's about black supremacy. That's what their tune is, and they tune out all of the evil as long as it meets their cause. I mean, look at Virginia. Now, this isn't Antifa or Black Lives Matter, but let me give you an example about how these fake organizations, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, endorsed the CIA spy and not the black woman. Aren't they supposed to be there to advance black women? But she's a conservative. She's a Republican, a Marine. Therefore, they can't endorse her. They don't care about black people.
No.
They never cared about black people. It's just a way to grift and get money. And
Right.
lie.
It was a convenient tool or weapon that they could use to gain money, gain power, gain votes. And it was a voting bloc that was no threat to run against them at one point, you know. And now they're decimated, the black community for sure. And they've changed them up for a different minority group that's soon going to be a majority if we're not, I'm not saying if we're careful, soon will be a majority if trends continue.
No, that's absolutely right. That's what it's all about. They just it's all these groups, I mean, there are exceptions. The United Negro College Fund does raise money for black kids,
right?
But the NAACP isn't about black people. It's about black supremacy. There's a very big difference.
Right. Yeah, if you want to take up for somebody who's been, lied about, has had somebody commit racism or a hate crime against them, that's fine. Stand up for those people, but don't go out there and look for things that aren't racist to call it out because you want to win an election or raise money or whatever. I mean, everybody doesn't have racism in their heart at every turn. Every word that somebody utters that's in politics isn't racism, for crying out loud. Let's call out real racism.
Yeah, and there's plenty of that directed against all people of all groups, and then you're absolutely right. And that's the reason why folks like us are dangerous, and certainly someone like me is dangerous, because we're comfortable in our skin, and we don't discriminate against people based on their skin color. We call out those who do it, and we're conservative, and they don't like that. If supposedly you're calling out racist, the good ground is owned by the left, except it isn't. It isn't. They eat their own. They'll attack you in a heartbeat. Look at how they just turn on people all the time. They'll call you an Uncle Tom if you're black. They'll call you a racist if you're white and you defend black people. It's just, they're sick, twisted people.
Ad hominems are a sign of weakness, by the way.
They are. They absolutely are. But there's plenty of that out there. It doesn't go away. It's their stock in trade. Absolutely crazy. So Minneapolis, did you guys see that crazy looking, looks like he's a freaking, cartoon villain character, Somali guy up there in Minneapolis? That's moving on to a second round of voting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. Neither one of them got enough votes to win the first time around, so they're gonna have to do it again. That's crazy. Yeah. Fry, he had a 10-point lead, or excuse me. Fry had a 10-point lead over Omar Fatah. But in the end, he was 42% of the total, 61,000 votes. Wow. That's crazy. No, I can't believe this guy. Yeah, and of course, I've seen a photograph here of Ilhan Omar and this clown. This guy is I don't know why we do this to ourselves. Why we destroy and give away our country. Absolutely give away our country. These are people who don't share the same values of this country, and they bring the values of the broken countries to America, and then demand that we behave in the way that the place they fled because it was broken.
Right.
They're just users.
Oh, absolutely. And sadly, I'll bring up the right here, and the Republicans, the establishment Republicans, especially in local cities, towns, whatever. They do us a disservice as well, because they want to hold onto their own power, and of course we vote for corrupt people on wholesale as well. Very, very few really good Republicans in public office in Washington right now. Very few.
Well, guys, there's a topic we haven't broached tonight that I think it's time we should talk about, if you don't mind. John, if you allow me, indulge me this, I'd like to bring this topic up. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, all the rage, the conversation this week, the bogus claims that the right is being fractured and it's breaking into groups. Also, people claim that Nick Fuentes has the ear of a conservative youth. All this stuff going on, and I call nonsense. But I won't comment on Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes until I hear what you guys have to say. I'm curious. Are you following this mini controversy, or controversy, if you want to call it that? Todd, any thoughts on Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson?
Not enough. I'm not followed enough to give a comment. I'll be honest with you. That'd be disingenuous if I did.
John, any comments?
No, I do not know. I know nothing about it.
I heard a little bit on talk radio, but that was just, a short drive here and there. So I didn't get enough of it. Sorry.
All right. Well, I'll go out there on that branch all by myself, which is sold halfway apart, so I hear it snapping as I walk out there. So I didn't listen to it because I really don't follow Tucker Carlson all that much. Nothing against him. He was a fantastic journalist a few years ago when he was at Fox, exposing the evils of the world. Recently, ever since he gave Vladimir Putin a propaganda platform to twist and lie about the history of Russia for an hour and a half, I've kind of lost interest in Tucker Carlson. He seems to have gone off the deep end and lost the plot in many ways. And that's nothing against him. Like I said, he's been brilliant in the past. But Tucker Carlson apparently hosted Nick Fuentes, an avowed white supremacist and anti-Semite, and according to himself. And Tucker Carlson didn't ask him any big questions, any hard questions. Instead of focusing on the races, they're talking about this nonsense, with Israel and going all this stuff right before an election that has nothing to do with these issues at hand. So a lot of people are upset. They're upset that anyone's actually daring or deigning to challenge Tucker Carlson. Others are upset that Tucker Carlson hosted an avowed white supremacist and anti-Semite on his program. And the left is giddy, and they're trying to divide the right, saying that, look at how they're fracturing, and look how powerful Nick Fuentes is. Nick Fuentes is not a powerful figure. He's known. But anybody with any dumb idea can find people to support them. Look at Hitler. He had a following. Yeah. So it's a really, really serious problem here with people distracting from the mission at hand. The mission at hand is economic growth. The mission at hand is to excise tens of millions of criminal alien invaders who are undermining the social and economic integrity of this nation. The mission at hand is to fix the racist judgments that have destroyed this country and get equal protection under the Constitution back in the hands of the people. The mission is to remove the demon rats and the rhinos from Congress and from the state houses. That is the mission at hand. The mission at hand is to protect our nation. It is to defend our borders. borders. It is to protect the rights of Americans and not criminal alien invaders. That is the mission at hand. All this other stuff about Israel and Ukraine and South Africa, this is just extraneous. It has nothing to do. Political commentators in the U.S. should be focusing primarily on U.S. issues.
Right.
And that's the bottom line here. Instead, we've got people trying to divide us, talking about, did Erica Kirk have her husband killed? And I see this video now. She's caught behind stage, pouring liquid into her eyes to create fake tears. It looks to me like they're eye drops for someone whose eyes were dried out, and then she did cry on stage. What was this obsession with destroying the life of a woman who just had her husband murdered in the most horrific fashion? It is a sick world, a sick, sick world.
Well, she's taken over, picking up where he left off, and so it may be actual that people are trying to destroy her. She's starting to, gain ground.
Well, at this point, for them, she's not a grieving widow. She's now their enemy at this point. That she's taken over. She's the enemy. So therefore, that's out the window. They may not reference the murder or anything like that, but they'll just go directly after her as if she's just a Charlie Kirk 2.0, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, they're attacking her for that reason, I think. Turning Point has, I think it was growing, isn't it not? A lot of people want to create state chapters now.
Oh no! Within the first 72 hours after Kirk was assassinated, I think that I try to remember the number. I stand on corrections, but I want to say they had like 800 chapters or something like that at universities, or 300 and 1,100 at high school campuses, or anyway. But within 72 hours, they had 30,000 requests from schools across the country to create Turning Point. There's no way they'll be able to keep up with that growth, not effectively. So they're going to have their hands full with that. And they're going to need a lot more people. And quite frankly, Turning Point USA needs to stop being bigoted and not take the advice and assistance or membership of people over the age of 30. It's time they grow up and stop being little brats. But if they don't, then they're going to have a hard time dealing with that growth. But yeah, they're massive. There was a massive outpouring. But, that's like anything else.
Right.
It's like, the Twin Towers that collapsed were all Americans' pride, and 5 minutes later start attacking Bush. It'll be the same thing here with Turning Point. The big outpouring of support, but the enthusiasm will wane off. People who are just, drive-by attention seekers will lose interest. But there will be a lot of chapters added, and a lot of people will join them. But it's not going to be the 30,000 number. I'm pretty sure of that.
Right. Yeah. That's just, people want to, I don't want to say jump on any bandwagon, but, it's an outcry of what went on. Mm-hmm. But it's not growth that they can sustain for sure. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But well, here in our county, we had a few weeks ago, we had a request to have Riley Gaines come and speak. I think I may have mentioned that a week or so ago, during school hours. And of course, the local representative for Turning Point and a couple county commissioners were trying to force us to try to do it during the school hours. Well, we have 4 policies that don't allow for that. And at the same time, we have state law and, of course, the Constitution that we can't force force somebody to listen to somebody that has nothing to do with curriculum. Whenever it comes to viewpoint, I think it's called viewpoint discrimination, if you will. We can't force people to listen to somebody. Of course, they wanted us to force them. But we got called Nazis by the local representative, by the way, local Turning Point representative. And we were called basically our Christianity and our religious views were called into question by the local Turning Point representative. So this is kind of where some of their younger representatives are coming from. They're taking a playbook out of the left, which is sad.
No, they're behaving just like the left. Right. And that's because,
they think that this is how you campaign or get your way.
Well, but beyond that, this is also the exuberance and inexperience of youth, that people think they know everything.
Yeah. I know.
And that's part of the problem here. They're behaving as if they have all the answers when they don't. And it's a problem. This is why, this nonsense. Well, when you give the youth control, you get Logan's Run.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, why do we need these old people around? Let's just kill them. Carousel.
Exactly. Carousel. Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Yep. Guys, it is 2025. Guess what next year is? You know what it is. There's a little decoration took place 250 years ago.
250, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 250 years of this experiment, which is on shaky ground and was wobbling and teetering just a year ago.
Wait a minute.
But now
you say 2025. 2026 will be 250 years.
That's what he said.
That's what I said. Next year.
I could have sworn you said 2020. I'm sorry.
No, I said it is 2025. Do you know what next year is? That's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's fine. But we're coming up on it, folks. Get your merch now. Get your merch. There's going to be tons of merch for the 250th anniversary of America. In fact, I got an email earlier today with like 35 different hat designs. I want all of them. I can't afford it, so I'm gonna have to be more selective in which one I get. But maybe next week I'll be wearing one of those hats. We'll see.
All right.
I'm telling you, man. I remember 1976, 200th anniversary.
bicentennial.
It was wild, man. I'm not saying wild, but it was a great year. Very patriotic. Everything was patriotic. It was a really like it's almost like the nation come together for that year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you think about it, Vietnam had just ended. We were past Watergate. Nixon was gone, right? So
Bruce
people were having,
Chapman's a man.
so people were feeling exuberant again. People were feeling, the America's back, baby.
Yeah.
Well, that was short-lived under Jimmy Carter.
It
What was that?
was
What was that?
short-lived.
Hot dogs, baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet. I remember that ad from that year.
Right.
Yeah. No, but there were already warning signs in 1976. Specifically, the Philadelphia Phillies Car of the Year sponsor was the AMC Gremlin.
And they
I mean,
Mike's,
we should have known that we were in for a rocky future when the Phillies picked their car, and I remember they drove one out on the field. I was like, oh my God. That looks like something out of a Woody Allen movie.
AMC just could not quite make it with their designs and their body styles.
Well, their cars were crap.
Yeah,
they were. They
hot
were
garbage.
They were
remember
ugly.
They were going under. What was
underpowered.
What's up?
They were ugly. They're underpowered. They're unreliable. They were dangerous.
Wait a minute, but they did have the Jeep.
Yeah, but they didn't create the Jeep. They bought it.
Right. Right.
But they had it.
Well, it's kind of like Fiat.
Well,
owns Jeep
thank
now.
God they got rid of it.
The Javelin was a pretty interesting looking car, although the front wheel wells were kind of weird.
We're not seriously sitting here defending American Motors Corporation, are we?
No.
Well, I'm just saying it was a favorite.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go down that road, then let's just defend Ford's Pinto.
Look, all I'm saying. Oh my God, there was people that put 302s with wheelie bars on those things, man.
Well, because they were small and light, they could get them down the quarter mile.
Oh yeah, they were great for dragging.
Right, absolutely. Plus, you get them a wheel stand. How cool is that?
Yeah, you could drop the pedal on that one and stare at the sky for a couple of seconds.
You know, the one vehicle that survived, that's still around, that really surprised me and actually looks a little bit sexy for this day and age, is the Ford Bronco. The Bronco's still around.
Oh, that new one's nice body style. Yeah, it looks better than the older ones, I think.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. There's a company that and there's a number of different cars that do retro. It's a modern vehicle, but it looks retro. That they do Broncos. They cost $180,000, but still they look good.
Yeah.
Well, anything looks better than that Tesla truck. What were they thinking, man? I keep seeing them.
Anything EV looks ugly. What is it about these EV? I mean, Tesla's got maybe, what is it? Is it the S model or the M? One of them has more of a wide body, better look to it. They had the one that was like a muscle car, or a performance car. But ultimately, a lot of these EV vehicles just look like trash to me. Even their semi trucks. You ever see these things with like the single driver's seat in the center?
No, I haven't. That sounds weird.
One of them looks like the front of it looks like a robot out of what was that? Danger Wheel, where I was in.
Oh yeah. What was his name?
Lost in Space.
Yeah, Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of these EV vehicles just don't appeal to me the way they look. They just don't have any appearance.
Since you brought Lost in Space, I watched a video on YouTube yesterday. It was basically every time that the doctor that screamed, the scientist or whatever, and he screamed like a girl.
Yeah, shrieked.
It's like, why are you screaming so loud? Nobody else on screen screaming like that, but he let it out, man.
Yeah, the doctor wasn't supposed to be right. Remember, he's like
a little off, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to be honest,
he was a stowaway, wasn't he? Was he in the original?
Yes, he was a stowaway. That's correct.
All right.
Yeah, and if you see the pilot, you can see that happen. But then most people didn't see the pilot because it wasn't that heavily watched, if I recall. But then you saw it afterwards, or we saw it in reruns. But the Lost in Space they did years later with Matt LeBlanc was not bad. Then they did a even better series on it, which was pretty good. But it just kind of ended abruptly. It was on Netflix, typical Netflix. They put a little bit of money into something, sucking you in, and then they take it away from you. It's kind of like Halo.
Yeah.
Other than the fact it's anti-white, is actually pretty well written and pretty good with its CGI. but Halo's pretty good. At least the first season. Second season, I avoided watching for a few years, but then I binge watched the first season a few nights back, and it's pretty good. I never played Halo the game. I always assumed that was for high altitude. For the
low opening. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Halo,
always thought that. I thought that's what it was, but no, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's
whenever that game first came out, you played Halo. I'm like, oh, is there a game for military free fall? That's cool.
Yeah. Where do I sign up, man? I thought it was like going to be like a simulation. Jumping out of a plane at 26,000 feet. Yeah.
You got your O2, whatever. Yeah, I'm ready to do it. Nope.
Yeah, no, that's not what it was. That's what I thought it was, but no, that wasn't what it was. Yeah. Anyway, so are you guys flying anywhere? Because flights are going to be delayed, guys. Like I said, 10% cut in flights affecting 40 markets. That's just crazy. But they have no choice. No choice.
I love to fly, but I try to avoid it since TSA was created.
Yeah, maybe December. I'll go to Tampa for Bush Cheney alumni event. Of course, Cheney obviously passed, but I'll go there for the event.
Well, the number of flights actually, let's see, it's Chicago's O'Hare will be 121 fewer flights per day, or 14,500 less seats.
Wow,
that's a lot of seats. Yeah, that's a lot of seats, and that makes it all the more poignant. When I was in Chicago at O'Hare recently, when I flew through there, and I ran into Mike Pence.
Yeah,
and nobody in the airport, of the thousands of people, recognized him, the former vice president. I mean, that's pretty incognito, I mean, I actually got recognized at a local supermarket here in Pennsylvania the other day, much to my chagrin. I was walking, I was recognized more than Mike Pence was.
That's cool.
He's a vice president of the United States. Thousands of people walking by in the airport in Chicago, and nobody saw him except me. And here I am in a local supermarket. I'm walking. The guy goes, "Colonel Wyatt." I said, "Yes." "Oh, I love your show." I'm like, wow, I felt like I was back in South Africa.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me because you're the judge of elections, so they recognize you as from your show.
Well, I mean, somebody recognized me. I did get 98% of the votes that were cast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. But I wonder if they'll let me do the job, because I ran as William Wyatt last time, and this time when someone put my name on the ballot as Chris Wyatt. Of course, the county knows that's who I am, because I ran under that name last year. But anyway, no, it was pretty funny. I mean, I've been recognized more than Mike Pence. I mean, who can say that? Oh my goodness.
I love it.
But no, it's just going to be a serious problem. I mean, it's going to be a massive issue for people trying to get around the country. And that means that whatever flights there are going to be completely full. There won't be any empty seats. I mean, they'll be putting people in the toilet.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. Anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of putting people in toilets on a plane, we were at it was an Eagle, Colorado. We were flying out there. We were out there for a one of those think tanks. I can't remember, the one that Cheney was associated with, American Enterprise Institute, AEI. We were out there for their summer conference or whatever. And as we were leaving, I had a right hand person who worked for me, and he's technically supposed to be on Air Force 2 with me, but we were on a Gulfstream, so we were limited on seats. And the middle lady was going back and forth on whether to put him on the backup plane or what's the deal, because the staff wanted to fly somebody additional on the Gulfstream with the vice president, and the staff suggested that my guy sit in the bathroom, and I was like, hell no, that's not going to happen. And we went back and forth for about 20 minutes, and finally the vice president comes to the back of the plane. He's like, what's the hold up here? And I'm like, well, sir, they're trying to put my guy in the bathroom. He's like, hell no, that's not going to happen. And he put the other guy on the backup plane, and my guy stayed right beside me. He said, this guy is here for a reason. He's part of the Department of Defense. He stays on this plane. This guy gets off the plane. I was like, that's so cool. That's so cool. He did that.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life things go the right way. A lot of times they don't. So
yeah.
You say that was Cheney did that?
Yeah, for the vice president to come back to the back of the plane, he diffused an argument like that. He told the staffer to get off the plane, go to the backup. and the guy just got up, picked up his stuff, ran off the plane. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
The vice president speaks, you react.
Yeah, if you want the job, you're going to get up and move.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I think we do have to say about Dick Cheney is that he wasn't an attention seeker. That's for sure. He wasn't trying to get in front of the cameras. He didn't give interviews very often, and when he did, it was very
long
form and in depth and focused. It wasn't stray voltage. It wasn't out of control. It wasn't off the cuff. So look, I mean, he was a consummate DC insider. Which is interesting because he represented Wyoming. I guess they like to see the representatives leave town and just, not see them, because that's what he did. He represented Wyoming for a long time. and he was in DC most of that time. But anyway, I guess, anyway, flags are at half staff. I didn't see how long they were ordered at half staff. I would imagine it's probably a week. I'm not sure. But they're at half staff today. So if people are wondering why you're going around seeing U.S. flags at half staff, it's because of that. It's not because Nicki Minaj was beat up by people in Nigeria. No.
But did she get beat up?
No. President Trump came out in defense of Christians who are being slaughtered in Nigeria, telling the government of Nigeria, if they don't get together and start defending Christians, that we're going to attack the terrorists inside. The U.S. is going to go into Nigeria with military force. And it got a lot of people's attention, including Nicki Minaj, who, of course, is from Trinidad.
Right.
And she's a Christian. Her lyrics are not very Christian, but she's a Christian, and she stood up and she said, "It's about time that a world leader stood up to defend Christians." Right. And Nigerians just start running their mouth like, "You know what you're talking about?" And like they need to be quiet. They don't know what they're talking about.
No, I didn't know if somebody had attacked her or punched her.
No, verbally attacking her on Twitter.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
No, she was, I think surprised a lot of people. A lot of people who are out there, celebrities and musicians that people presume or assume are on this side or that side of the political aisle. When they finally do speak up, some people are surprised. I think Nicki Minaj surprised a lot of people. So they would have assumed that she was a leftist because of her onstage persona and her lyrics, which I have to admit that I listened to a little bit of Nicki Minaj, not recently, but I have in the past. But I was very impressed to see what she said in regard to Trump's statement. Now, President Trump is he's saber rattling. He's saber rattling in Venezuela. He's saber rattling in Nigeria. Yeah, Mexico. It's drug boats running the Caribbean. I mean, he's not being shy. I mean, the dude knows he's got a clock and it's ticking.
Right.
Yeah, well, that sounds like 60 Minutes.
Right. He does make every second count, doesn't he?
But you think during his first term, he probably I view what he did in his first term. He was trying to not go as far as he may go this time because he needed to get reelected. So he kind of figured out, okay, I'll go as far as I can and I'll leave it right there, see what happens. But now he's like, got to leave it on the field at this point.
That's exactly right. I mean, again, exactly. There's no third term. That's what's so funny about him trolling people about a third term.
Yeah, I love it. Whenever he had the Democrat leaders in there, he had the hats pointed out so they could see it. And he's like, I'm just trolling them, basically. He's like, I run for a third term.
I think that Trump ought to make a MAGA hat that has 45 on one side, 47 on the other side, and the front has 48 with a question mark in gold.
Oh, no, like a rally cap. You turn it around and it has
48 on it. There you go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we now enter the third period of this game.
I can imagine if they amended the U.S. Constitution, he might take a third term. But
although technically, if he was elected to a third term, that's not unobstructed, that was continuous, he'd still be the 47th president, technically. But still, that would be an awesome troll.
No. I mean, that's how we got to 48. I mean, people's terms are listed. I mean, yes, that is. But yeah, I got. Wait.
Yeah,
how many terms do we have?
If
you're right.
Like George W. Bush, as an example, was the 43rd president. He served 2 terms.
You're right.
You count them separately whenever there's a break.
You're right. Yeah, I was thinking about that. No, yeah, but whatever. Yeah, so
it'd still be funny as heck, though.
No, so we just do this. We put 45 on one side, 47 on the other side, and we spin the rally cap around. It says 47 2.0.
Yeah, 47 2.0. Yeah, there we go. That'll work.
There you go. Wow.
Third term on there.
There are liberal minds exploding at this very moment if they're listening to this program.
That's illegal. He can't do it. We know that.
No more kings. Well, I agree. No more Nancy Pelosi. No more Chuck Schumer.
We don't want any more kings. Let's
get that in 1776, didn't they?
No, we had a king in 1933 to 1945 when he passed away. King Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We had a king.
Or wouldn't the members of the Senate be like dukes or whatever? So no more dukedoms. Let's get rid of them.
No more doo-doos. What does he say? No more doo-doos?
Dukedoms.
Duke Nukems. Yeah. Anyway.
Duke Nukem.
I remember that. That was going back quite a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the original game where people should have been working and they weren't. that and solitaire.
Oh God, yes, yeah, classic. What are you doing over there? Doing the spreadsheet? Not playing solitaire. Minesweeper.
Oh yeah, Minesweeper. I never really got classic. The Minesweeper thing. Yeah, but I remember the solitaire. I didn't get the appeal of solitaire. It doesn't do much for me. I'd much rather play hearts or play spades with somebody.
Yeah. Love some spades back in the day in the barracks.
Yeah, that was the big army thing. But I mean, if you got the right crowd, people played hearts too. I really like hearts.
Right.
Been so long, I don't remember how to play those games.
Yeah, spades I kind of remember. But hearts, I'd have to get a refresher.
They were similar, weren't they?
I think they were.
They are similar, but I just liked hearts better. So yeah, I didn't want to be called a racist because I was playing spades.
Oh man!
Lunchtime during in the motor pool, I'd play bones with all the black guys. So I mean, that was fun. That was some fun. I'm telling you, the trash talk and the camaraderie. I mean, plus, you think about this. Normally, you blacks, whites, they're not together. Military, man, come together, have fun. Everybody trash talks and has a good time.
Yep. John, take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our bit for tonight. We hope you got something out of it. Catch us next week, same time, same place. We enjoy spending our time with you, so we look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, take care.